get into the preview of next week in another episode. But like I said at the beginning, this is a two-part show, so we're gonna get into recapping the NFL, man. Like I said, NFL it was really good. What was that week 2, right? We in week 2, so we're like I said, we
Yeah,
didn't
we're
think
going into week 3. This is week 2.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so we getting into the season, man. Everybody kind of stretched their legs week 1. And then now week 2 we start to build on what happened, man. I never forget one of my favorite coaches of all time, Herman Edwards said, we break the season into four quarters. So we, 3-1 in the first one, 3-1 in the next one, 3-1 all the way through. We'd be pretty good at the end of the season. So uh
Mm-hmm.
he said those words, and I think we cool. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good way to think about it. And we still in the first quarter of the season, so everything's new. But we gotta start the show talking about Nick Chubb, man, out for the season, man, with a crazy knee injury, man. But
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
but 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 I'm gonna say this because we in the same fantasy league. Almost had you. Almost had you.
Yeah, you
Almost,
literally. Yeah, I'm not even
almost
gonna
had you.
lie. Like where I messed up, and we're not gonna get off topic too crazy, but this is where I pretty much messed up. If I would have knew that DeAndre Swift was gonna go off and drop damn near 30, he would have been starting. Tyreek Hill is no, not Tyreek Hill. Yeah, Tyreek Hill put up decent points for me too, but like, dude, like I was sweating. I'm like, yeah, I'm screwed. I'm like, yeah, he's got Najee and he's got him, and I'm like, and I was watching the Dolphins and the Patriots play, and I'm like, look, I don't need y'all to win, but I need Tyreek to get in the end zone and just rack
Right.
up some
I was like, I
yards.
was like, I almost
Like,
had him, bro.
okay, we okay,
I was like, I almost had him. I
bro.
almost
And like
had him.
when we lost, I'm like, oh, okay, well, those two are gonna find their way in the end zone. I'm probably gonna lose. And then when I check back, I'm like, well, damn, the percentages are saying like 70-30. I'm like, well, what the hell happened? Wow, they're not doing nothing. I'm like, oh, he got hurt. And I'm like, well, that sucks. I predicted him to win freaking offensive player of the year, so that's unfortunate.
And
Uh,
you know what's
but I mean,
crazy,
my
Greg?
second guy to get offensive player of the year is still good.
He was running mad too, man. He was looking good, man. They couldn't do nothing with him. And just a crazy injury, man. Like, dude, it's just I couldn't believe that, man. Like it's
Mm-mm.
and now, Cleveland looked really good, against Cincinnati. So you were starting to think like, you know,
Yeah.
they was looking real good week 1 against Cincinnati. So, and
Mm-hmm.
then, you look at the injury now, it puts a lot on Deshaun Watson, man.
Yeah,
But
they
you
don't
know
have
what?
to no more.
But you know what? Jerome Ford is not a bad. He's not Nick Chubb, but he's a good replacement, man. I mean, I followed his career at Bama. He didn't really get a lot of playing time at Bama, but when he transferred to Cincinnati, boy, he was dogging people, man. He was good, really good. So, I expect him to, fill it in, but it's not going to be the same, obviously, especially when it comes to pass pro. But I do think, what I'm saying, look, if you're Deshaun Watson, you're a captain of the team. You gotta lead your guys, man. Like I said, you don't have a bad team. Not at all. It's not a bad team at all. From what I
No.
saw last not last night, but the night
He's
before.
gonna have to just
Yeah, man. I think he just has to get his team together, bro. It's his team. Like I said, you gotta rally your guys, man. Obviously he has a lot on his plate, being, a lot of off the field stuff that was bothering him over the last couple years. But you know what? Like I said, he's playing, so obviously that stuff's not that big a deal now. I mean, it is a big deal, and I'm not saying it's not. But in terms of his football career, the rumors have seemed to die down a little bit. So he doesn't have to really focus on that anymore. He can focus on playing. So It's interesting to see what the Browns do after that. Like I said, I don't like the Browns, obviously, because my team is the original Browns, but I hate to see injuries like that happen. But like I said, man, I think they'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's a team that we really didn't predict to do much. Obviously, the Steelers and the Browns were kind of our picks to finish, last in the division. And the Ravens and
Hmm.
Bengals were predicted to be, up there. So, speaking of the Bengals, man, they are 0-2, man. So, I will talk about the Ravens side of things. I want you to talk about the Bengals side of things in that game. What did you see that was the problem? And then we'll go from there.
It just seems like they're missing that it factor. That's like just early on. I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe you'd be able to put your finger on it, but I just don't know. Like they're just not. And I'm not saying they can't turn the switch on because I really think they can. But man, like to Baltimore. Like I already said earlier, it might take at least one this year for sure. But like that week one, that really was a red flag for me. And then you're coming into week two, which is pretty much a must win,
Yeah.
and you drop it. Now you're 0-2 in the division. That's not good. It's
Mm.
man, like it's like you need to figure it out and you need to turn that switch on because if you drop another one, that freaking siren's going off if it's not already going off, dude. Like you need to figure it out and we need to get it together because man, like if they fall apart and they don't even come in second this year, that's a no, especially after forking out all that money and there's talks that they're not going to retain T. Higgins, and you're having stuff with Mix and this and that. Like it could blow up, and I don't
Yeah.
think it will, but I think it's definitely on the table to happen. Uh, but man, they need to figure it out. No discredit to Baltimore; they've got a good team. They just Cincinnati needs to figure it out.
So all right, so I unpack a little bit of what you said. So obviously, what I'm saying, I'm a Ravens fan, so I'm biased. I'm like, yeah, that's the one we had to get. But it's kind of interesting that you talk about Joe Burrow and forking all the money because historically the Cincinnati Bengals are a really cheap team. Really cheap team.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, they are cheap. So
Especially even going down to the training facilities, like they just upgraded that like in the last 5 to 10 years. Like
yeah.
that's crazy.
So when I'm looking back at the history of this team, it's surprising. It's not surprising that they're struggling, because they don't really invest in the team anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like you have you look at their history. You have players like Carson Palmer. Uh, he still had a lot in the tank.
Boomer
You,
sizing.
and you get rid of him for Andy Dalton. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm sorry. I would rather Carson Palmer. I'm sorry. That's the guy I would rather. If I'm looking back right now, I would not have did that. You know what I'm saying? I get it's
Mm-mm.
2020 vision, obviously, but um, like I said, I don't think so. I just would rather that. So when you look at a team like this, it's not surprising that they're struggling because they got to make some financial decisions coming up. You know what I'm saying? This is that hard part of like a Super Bowl team or a Super Bowl runner-up team. Like, how are we gonna get back? Like, how are we gonna get back? And a lot of dudes is coming up for these contracts. Obviously, Joe Burrow was the big piece. You can't let him walk. You can't because there's many teams that would take Joe Burrow right now. So you can't let him walk at all. But you're gonna have to pay Joe Mixon. He's a Pro Bowl guy. He's gonna give you 50 catches out the backfield. He's gonna give you 1,000 yards rushing. So you're looking at a guy like that. He's coming up on his deal too. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think he was a first round
Mm-hmm.
pick. So the fact that he's outworked his value from where he was drafted lets you know that he's going to be a sought after person. So
Yeah.
his, you
Higgins
know,
too.
right, he's going to be paid. Higgins obviously is showing that he can be a number one. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have a guy like Jamar Chase. You know what I'm saying? He has a few years before he's up for a deal, but it's obvious that he's the number one. So T. Higgins been playing just as good, sometimes better. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the defense is not looking at him, as much as they would look at Jamar Chase because Jamar is obviously the number one. But
Mm-hmm.
he has leverage and in that, like, yo, I've been producing, so he can use that against the Bengals in terms of getting that contract, or he can use that as leverage to get in free agency when he gets in free
Mm-hmm.
agency to get a deal. So, if they're in a tough spot, like I said, man, you're dealing with a team, in my opinion, that it's a lot more than football right now. A lot more. It seems like a lot more in that locker room than just football at this point. And when you have a team that's like divided to where it's not on the same page to the point where I'm worried about getting mine instead of winning all the time, you're gonna have a tough season, man. And like I said, they can still turn it around, man. Joe Burrow's a hell of a quarterback, man. So he would have to, I'm not sure if he's a rah guy. He really doesn't seem like that. He just seems like a chill dude that just ball out.
Lead by example without having to barely say anything.
Right, man. He lead by example. So it seems like he's that kind of leader. So he just gonna have to show him like, yo, man, look, you want to make this money, you're gonna have to play. I played, so shoot, why not? You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's a tough stretch, man. Like I said, I don't know how their
Mm-hmm.
season's gonna go. But it's not a good start. Losing 2 games in division,
Mm-hmm.
you're already behind the 8 ball. So, like I said, I get into my Ravens, man. I am excited, obviously, because that was a game we had to win. Obviously, got some get back because they beat us in the playoffs. Obviously, we didn't have Lamar. I think that would have made a big difference. But even without Lamar, that was still a good game. You know what I'm saying? So, coming into this season, I look forward to seeing, how Lamar can just make better decisions, be more comfortable in the decisions that he's making. And game one looked a little up and down. New offensive coordinator, obviously, him coming off of a 10-month layoff, being hurt, coming into the season. But like I said, new offensive coordinator, so you kind of getting used to everything. Obviously, he's a very, very rich person right now because he got paid as well. So, wanted to see his mannerisms there. So coming into week 2, I actually liked a lot that was going on, man. I liked a lot of his decision making. I liked a lot of his passes. He seems to be kind of slowing it down just a little bit. It seemed like he was pressing against the Texans in week 1. But he looked a lot better in week 2, man. Obviously, we recovered Dobbins injury. So I was looking forward to seeing how our backups would look if we would reach out to, free agent running back, somebody out there that looking to continue their career or be on the team. You know what I'm saying? So, if I'm not mistaken, Adrian Peterson's not retired yet. So,
Mm-hmm.
might give him a call, man. He's trying to catch. He's trying to catch Emmett, so he might want to, you know what I'm saying? So but I digress, man. But I do like Gus Edwards, man. He is around the goal line. He's gonna get a lot of touchdowns this year, man. He's gonna get at least 10. At least. Because when we go to goal line, he know how to find the end zone, man. He's quick and straight to the point when it comes to getting in the end zone around the goal line. So I think it'd be good, man. But I was really excited. I was pleased with how that game went, man. Obviously, I wanted them to win. my team, so I wanted them to win. But I was pleased how our defense played, man. Gosh, our defense looks really good, man. I was worried because we're without Marlon Humphrey, but it looks like when he gets back, what I'm saying, we won't miss a beat. Just kind of want him to take his time and really come back healthy because he could be a missing piece of a Super Bowl defense. I really think we have a Super Bowl defense this year, man. Obviously not my Super Bowl pick because I think offensively that's still gonna be our bugaboo. Like I don't think we're gonna be able to score as much with a team. And if we get behind, we're not a team that plays well from behind. So I think our bugaboo on offense will get us, but that's a Super Bowl defense if you ask me, man. I was scared because I was thinking how we're gonna play without Marlon Humphrey, and then how are we gonna play without Marcus Peters? Because I thought they were a great tandem as far as defensive backs is concerned. So obviously Marcus Peters isn't on our team anymore, and Marlon Humphrey's hurt. So it looks like the guys that are playing now actually are pretty good. So I look forward to that. But like I said, as long as we can keep Patrick Queen, who's another player up for a contract, and he looks wonderful. Like gotta pay him, man. He looks really good. And then Roquan Smith obviously looks really good. I told you I'm high on that linebacker tandem. I think that is the key to our success this year because running sideline to sideline, you're not going to do it against us. You're gonna have to run up the middle against us to really beat us on defense. And like I said, I look forward to seeing it, man. So, like I said, man, I think that was a really good game. Obviously, AFC North is gonna be a tough division,
Mhm.
but I want to get your take on the Atlanta Falcons and the Packers game because that was a good game, bro. Real good game.
I think Atlanta. I mean, we're still really early
I
in
know
the
we are.
season,
We are.
so I don't want to. I feel like sometimes it gets early and we jump on trains or we start kind of hyping or doing. But I think the Falcons are still worth talking about, man. We talked about this in the preseason, and there's another team in this division that I would like to talk about as well. But I mean, they're not looking bad, man.
No, not
They're,
at
they're
all.
worth talking about. I mean, Ritter's not looking bad. Bijan's getting the ball. They're scoring touchdowns. Their defense is playing bad. Like, they're worth looking into. I'm not saying they're going to be able to sustain it the entire season, but to be at this point early on, they're not looking bad, man. I think they can definitely run the table with some of these other teams on the schedule.
Nah, man, I don't think so either, man. I really think B. John Robinson is right making a case for Rookie of the Year, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
if we really being honest, because he really opened up their offense a lot, man.
Because he can catch and run.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So don't get me wrong, I love Cordell Patterson, but he is like maybe 5 times better than Cordell Patterson. You know what I'm saying? So it looks like he's really opened up their offense a lot. And I really like Ritter's decision making,
Mm-hmm.
man. He's been playing really good. So I really like the way he's been playing. But Bijan is a really big piece for them moving forward. I want to see them use Kyle Pitts a lot more because he's a mismatch, man. But they ain't really get him the ball. Maybe that was just a
Mm-hmm.
game plan or whatever, and he'll have more big games later on. But I do think that he should be a bigger piece for them moving forward because I think offensively they can score with just about anybody. And I love the way that they played because they were actually behind a lot in this game. It wasn't they pulled it out at the end, but they weren't close and they came back and won this game. But I would like to talk about Jordan Love, man. I mean, it's only 2 games, but man, he looks really good, man. He looks really good. I mean, his decision making has been really good. He can really throw the ball, man. Like he has some receivers that he's really starting to comfortable with. And it was, kind of one of those things for them last year with Aaron Rodgers, that he wasn't really sold on all those receivers that they had. And it seems like, all they really needed was a little, TLC, tender loving care, man. And they just needed that. And Aaron Rodgers really wasn't giving it to him, being a real a-hole about it. You know what I'm saying? Just not really trying to, help them. Obviously, he can't help them catch the ball, but maybe help them with their route running. Like maybe it's, they're not getting open enough or they're not running at the right
I
depth.
think he was just done. I think
Yeah,
he was
you know what I'm
just
saying?
done with that
Like I said,
situation, and the
obviously,
fact that
it,
them and Devontae parted ways didn't help the situation.
yeah. I mean, obviously, they had a lot of drama going on between him retiring, leaving, not paying him, things
Hmm.
like that. But you know what I'm saying? You still got to be a professional at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And I think those receivers being
Hmm.
so young, they just needed to be nurtured a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
but like I said, with Jordan Love there, they're literally all the same player. Still young, still trying to figure out the NFL lifestyle. So I think that helps a lot. And obviously, your quarterback not being able to shake off all the calls is a good positive because he's just gonna do what you say do. You know what I'm saying? And he's gonna call your plays. He's not gonna say, I don't want to do that because he doesn't have the experience to. And I don't think he really wants
Hmm.
to. It's because he's seen how that really affected them winning a lot of games. So I do think I was really excited to see both of those teams, man. I'm really excited to see them moving forward. But that game really stood out to me because they really really played. Both of them played good. But
Hmm.
I actually want to speak on Green Bay's defense, man. They're running a weird, not weird kind of defense, but something you don't really see in today's game. They run like a five defensive line front, and it isolates the blockers. So it's one on one with everybody. So it lets the linebackers kind of flow without really getting touched for real. So it's interesting
Hmm.
to see because we don't see that no more. The 46 defense or whatever, but you don't really see a 5-2 like that. Like it don't really you don't see that too
Hmm.
much. So but you can run 5-2, 5-3, but whatever. But it's really cool to see, what I'm saying, a team do that because up front that gives you the advantage, you know what I'm saying? So, but as we got later in the game, you could see that they need a sub package for that because Atlanta went to like 3 and 4 wide and they really couldn't defend that. Like they couldn't get no pressure up front, and
Hmm.
that kind
It
of
was
allowed
too thin.
Atlanta to get back into the game. So, but yeah, I really like
Hmm.
that. That was a weird, new kind of nuance for me as a defensive guy. I really like seeing that. So, but uh, let's talk about your Saints, man. Let's talk about them, man. What you think?
They so their defense looks really good. Man, they got pressure on Bryce all game. Now he did make some good throws, but man, the secondary looks good, and they're getting a really good push up front for pass rush. Like they're disrupting, especially it got called back, but rookie with Brian Brzee had a strip sack on Bryce Young. Obviously it didn't count, but man, like they were in his face. That defense has barely allowed any points in the first two games. This is even going back to last year. They were elite last year, and I think they might be even better this year. Offense, they still got issues. Derek Carr looks good at times and still struggles with some of these boneheaded throwing into double coverage throws.
Yeah.
Man, but when he can connect with Olave, that's electric. Like that's nasty. Because once he gets that ball in the open field, dude, that's not good for any defense at all. So I mean, I think their defense is set. I think offense is just going to take obviously it's going to take getting through the season to really work out the kinks and try to get him more comfortable with not having to have that gunslinger mentality. Like, you don't have to play hero ball. You
Right.
don't have to play hero ball. Your defense is going to keep you in the game, but don't throw your offense out of the game with these boneheaded throws because you make good throws. There were times where he'd step up, climb the ladder in the pocket, and he's hitting his receivers open on the money. But then you got some of these other times where he stands back there and he's throwing off his back foot, and you're throwing in double and triple coverage. Like, you don't have to try to fit it in that window, dude. Just play to your strengths, play to whatever the defense is going to give you, and just go from there. I mean, it doesn't help that Kamara's not in right now either, but I mean, they have other backs they're relying on. So I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like their defense anyway. I love Demario Davis, man. I think he's he's a really good linebacker, man. Like, he's smart and he's a thumper too, man. So I like him a lot, man. I mean, you still got Cam Jordan, so he's not going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? He's a beast. Obviously, you still got Lattimore. So you got some really good pieces, man. I'm not mistaken. Do y'all still have Tyrann Matthew?
yeah, he's still back there with Marcus May. And
Right. So
corners, you still got Alante Taylor and Paulson Adebo too, and they're pretty good as well.
yeah. So defensively, I'm not worried about that. I think when Kamara comes back, I think that'll open it up a lot. Because I think maybe Carr's what's the word I'm looking for? Pressing a little bit. In
Mm-hmm.
terms because he doesn't really probably have a running game that he can rely on, which is really what he had in Oakland. I mean, Josh Jacobs was the leading rusher, I think, 1 year. So, you have that comfortable running game. It helps a lot with quarterbacks. So, I think he might be just pressing, but I mean, defensively, like I said, if your defense is like doing what they're supposed to do, getting a mix of the older guys and the younger guys, I think they'll be all right. Because, like I said, man, this is probably the best team in the division, NFC South. So, I mean, you got the Panthers; they gonna struggle. I told you, man.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that maybe they could sneak up on some teams just because they won't know how to play them. But like I said, man, they got other issues because that team's just not good. You know what I'm saying?
They
Like,
can't
I don't
protect the run.
follow.
That offensive line, they struggle in pass protection.
Yeah, see, so like I said, I don't follow the Panthers, so I didn't know that their team was actually that bad. But the way they looking, they could really be picking number one again. Like, it's not looking pretty at all. It's not looking pretty, man. Bryce is running for his life his last year in college, and he gonna run for his life again. So he better look out. You know what I'm saying? So but like I said, man, I think he'll be an okay quarterback, man. I think he'll have a good career. Because I think, Carolina's, obviously, had mm, I'd say a checkered history at quarterback, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? They've had some good ones. They've had MVP ones. You know what I'm saying? But they've had some bad ones, man. Jimmy
More bad
Clausen,
than good.
Jimmy Clausen, Chris Winkie, you know what I'm saying? Like, some really, really bad ones. But I don't think Bryce Young will be that as long as you protect him,
Mm-mm.
you know what I'm saying? And give him some weapons, man. They got time. Frank Wright's obviously gonna be there for a little bit, so I think he'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, keeping the recap of the NFL going, let's talk about the Denver Broncos, man. It's not looking as good as I thought it would look. You know what I'm saying? And I could be wrong. I could be wrong, man. Maybe it's just me, thinking a lot of Sean Payton because I really like the way he coaches. But like I said, man, Russ just doesn't look like QB1 to me. Like, he just doesn't look like QB1, man. So I want to get your opinion on Russ, man, right now. We're 2 games in. I know you love Sean Payton. I love Sean Payton. So, like, what's your thoughts, man? Like, is he trade bait, or are they just gonna bite the bullet and release him, or does it get better? I don't know.
Dude, I'm not sold on Russ, dude. I don't know what happened. I don't think he's focused, dude. Ever since he got to Denver, it's like he's had, and obviously they've cut back on the entourage, but that's a thing. It just doesn't seem like his head's in the game, dude. He's not the same as he was in Seattle. And he kind of feels like a more glossed over prima donna, kind of not saying like Aaron Rodgers, but just not like what is going on? Like, and I mean, and look, we're 2 games in. If anybody's gonna turn him into something, he's with the perfect head coach.
Yeah,
He turned Drew Brees into a Super Bowl winning, first ballot Hall of Fame, passing yards leading quarterback. I mean, if anybody can do it, he can. But I will say this, like, they can't afford to release him, dude. There'll be so much of a penalty and dead money that they'll owe.
yeah, I
The
agree.
contract's bad.
Yeah, it's
So I
looking
mean,
bad.
if this season ends up being a wash, let's just say worst case scenario, Denver finishes second to last. Maybe they win 5, 6 games. Worst case scenario, maybe worse. You never know. Uh, yeah, like, and I'm not trying to just hit the panic button. Like I said, we're 2 games in, but man, if it gets like that, yeah, they'll try to dump that salary off. But the bad thing is, there are not going to be. There's always teams that want quarterbacks. But if he plays bad like that again, there are not going to be that many suitors for him. And
No,
if there's not
not
going
at
to be that
all.
many suitors for him that don't want to take on that contract, then Denver's going to be in a really place.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, like I said, I'm high on Sean Payton. I really, really do like him a lot, and he's a quarterback whisperer, man. I mean, you talk about the Cowboys offensive coordinator, bro, before he got the Saints job. So obviously he knows what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? He helped with a lot of guys. I want to say he probably helped with Tony Romo early in his career, which separated him from a lot of the other dudes on that roster. You know what I'm saying? So I just think he can. If anybody can get Russ out this funk, man, it's him. And like I said, man, I don't want to see him released, man, because I feel like he's a really good dude, man. He's a really good guy. And you want to see guys like that really win. You know what I'm saying? To really get the shine he deserves, man. Because I don't think he gets the respect he deserves, being a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But you know what I'm saying? He's got to do it by himself, man, being the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had a defense. So a really good defense. So it's like you're gonna have to fix this. You're gonna have to. Because if it's not looking good for a couple of reasons. Why? Because it's a new coaching staff, so they really don't have time for you to get it together. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, they cut down on the off the field stuff, which will
Mm-mm.
be a positive thing. But also, this is new ownership. This is not the same ownership that gave him that money. So they're looking for a return on their investment, or at
Mm-hmm.
least the return on the investment that the other people gave you. But this is like I said, this is a new ownership, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they're looking to really figure out what the future is for them. Are we going to really bank our future on Russ Wilson because he got a big contract and deal with mediocre seasons until the contract becomes easier to separate ourselves from? Or can we really, surround him with some talent and really make a run for it? So it's interesting to see, but Denver hasn't looked very good, man. Not the last 2 weeks, man. They just been really
Mm-hmm.
really mid in my opinion. So, but like I said, one of the last games I want to talk about, or if you had some games, you can talk about some too. But one game that I was,
Yeah.
one game that I wanted to talk about is Arizona and New York, man. When I looked at the game on my phone, I was looking at like, well, dang, Arizona actually might be some good. And then I looked back and Daniel Jones then brought him back. So like I said, man, I think Saquon, I don't know if he's gonna be out for a little bit, which is what we talked about all off season, his health, which is why I told you that I don't think that they're gonna invest in he's not gonna get the money that he wants to get because of
No,
his health.
he's
He
not.
doesn't he
Well, it's
doesn't
not even
have
just that. The field they're playing on is not helping his body either, dude. That turf is doing. I mean, a lot of guys are bringing it. Like that's not the case at all.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, man, like that's a factor. Playing on turf, man. Sometimes it's just not good for you. Some people can't run on turf. Some people run better on grass. It's just how you feel. But um, his injuries are a big issue of why he didn't get the money he wanted. Why they were like a stalemate
Mm-hmm.
in contract extension. This is why. You know what I'm saying? This is why I was like, man, when we were talking about early on in the shows, the the devaluation of the running back, man, because I can invest all this money in you and you don't play. I can get three more running backs that could make up what you do as far as impact and production. So, obviously nobody is
Mm-hmm.
Saquon because Saquon is really an otherworldly talent. But you can kind of soften the blow of losing Saquon by acquiring, guys that can do a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? So I just hope he's okay because the success of their season depends on him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you've seen Daniel Jones just drop the ball again that first week game against Dallas, but it's good to see him, like earning his paycheck a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we ain't playing good. I got to do what I got to do. So it's good to see him kind of take the reins and really show what he can do. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it was Arizona. They're kind of, I don't know what they're doing. They might try to tank for Caleb Williams, Drake May, or they might make a run for it. I don't know. Because they played real good in that early part of the game and really got up on New York. So obviously they can score, they can play real good. So I don't know, but like I said, I was good. I was happy to see Daniel Jones really show what he can do, man. Like I said, my defensive player of the year. I ain't really pay attention to him too much, but he ain't really been making no plays that stand out. You know what I'm saying? Which is Kayvon Thibodeau. And obviously, I don't think Brian Burns is going to do anything in Carolina. So just revisiting those picks that I made, I don't know. He might do good, but they ain't going to win enough games to really make a difference. So as far as him is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, man. So you got any games you want to talk about, man?
So I've got one team I want to talk about in one game. So if we're going to talk about a crazy team, and like I'm going to keep emphasizing this, we're only two games in. So take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
But what is going on in Tampa? Tampa's 2-0, and Baker is not playing horrible. So what is going on in the water down there, and why are they playing like this?
Um, I mean, look, my take on it is that all right. So Baker, you have to break Baker down into like three phases to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
College guy, Heisman winner. He was really a really good quarterback in college. So obviously he can throw the football, right? So he goes to Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
which is that second part. You're trying to shed off, all of that mystique of being a good college quarterback and try to be a really good NFL quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously it's different. And you're coming into
Mm-hmm.
a Browns team that was like 0-16. So you're coming into a situation that was already bad. So, you have to kind of figure that out, you know what I'm saying? And it was a lot of pressure on him, obviously being the first overall pick. And you got a lot of talent around there. You get Nick Chubb, you got Miles Garrett. Then you get some guys like I don't know if they had I don't know if they had Jabril Peppers at first. I feel like they did. I feel like they did have Jabril Peppers at
Mm-mm.
first.
I don't think they did. I think the Giants drafted him originally because
Okay,
now we
but
have him.
but like I said, either way. But my point is, the team was young, and it's hard to kind of deal with those expectations, right? Because not only did they drafted well, they actually brought in some really good players. Like Cleveland was really good, bro. Like really good. They had Baker, who was playing out of his mind. You had Odell Beckham. You had Jarvis Landry coming off of like hella seasons of 100 catches. I mean, I don't know why Miami would get rid of him, but I mean, the team was loaded, and Joku was looking like he could be something special. So you had a lot of young players, man. And then it just kind of went downhill, dog. Like I mean, you get rid of Hugh Jackson, who kind of dealt with a lot of this, foolery. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He had to deal with a lot. So the guy that drafted him, a lot of the stories is that, Baker kind of pulled a Magic Johnson, you know what I'm saying? He went behind the back of the coach and got him fired because he felt like um I forgot who the dude was after that, but he felt like he was a better fit for what he could do. You know what I'm saying? Help him call plays a little bit better and play better. So, you come in there, you struggling, you fix it because y'all get to the AFC Championship game. I want to say in 2020. So you obviously fix it, and the expectations are there. And then now we're expecting you to do that again, and he didn't handle that well. So he's obviously a
Yeah, he
guy.
got hurt too. He was dealing with a bad injury too.
Yeah, that too. And what I'm saying, that can mess up your psyche as well. So he was dealing with a lot in Cleveland, and then obviously they move on. You know what I'm saying? So uh he's has a chip on his shoulder as a player, as being, one of the craziest stories ever, walk on winning the Heisman. Nobody thought he would do that. You know what I'm saying? So um then you walk on being the first overall pick in the draft. Nobody thought that. You know what I'm saying? So the chip on his shoulder grew even more. I got to prove these guys wrong. But in college, it's easier to beat a guy because everybody's kind of on the same playing field. We're trying to get to the NFL. So now you're in the NFL and it's just not working out. You know what I'm saying? Different people have different motives for how they want to play, what they believe in, what motivates them. And you know what I'm saying? You're dealing with a lot with Cleveland. So we shift into this third phase of Baker Mayfield. And now you've been traded a few times. Um, and now you're kind of you're at home now. Now you're finally kind of, I guess, able to kind of just relax a little bit. Obviously, you leave and go to LA for a little bit, and you leave Cleveland, you know what I'm saying? But now you're in a spot where now you don't have to worry about too much. The expectations aren't there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're not, obviously you're kind of in Tom Brady's shadow in terms in terms of what he did in Tampa, but the expectation for the team wasn't to win a Super Bowl this year. We even said that. We don't think they're going to do it. But them being 2-0 is not really surprising because this is kind of what Baker is. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really thinks we can win, and I'm going to prove people wrong. So it's not really surprising to me that they get off to a hot start because this is just fits him. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it may be surprising to other people, but for college football fans like us, we understand that Baker is a chip on the shoulder kind of guy. So when the expectations aren't
Mhm.
for him to win, he rises to the occasion. And when they are for him to win, you can see it's not that good. So I think it's a good spot, and I think they're all right, man. 2-0. They got some really good players, and I think they'll be all right. But like I said, Baker is in that third phase of his life right now, and we'll see how it goes. But so far, so good. Like I said, I want to see
Mhm.
Ty Bowles keep his job. That's all I want to say. I want to see him keep his job
Mhm.
because he's really had a rough go at it when it comes to his job opportunities. You know what I'm saying? We discussed it early on the show, so I won't get into it. But he's had a tough luck with quarterbacks, so hopefully he can do it. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see.
Yeah. So the only other game I really want to talk about is the Miami and New England game because that was actually a pretty good game.
I told you.
The
I
only
told you it would
thing,
be. I told you. I
but
told
the only thing I'm really concerned about is they need to work on. They're good in the run game. Stevenson looked really good. Uh, they need to work on pass protection because I could tell that he was getting frustrated trying to hit Juju, trying to hit Kendrick Bourne, trying to hit these guys. And there'd be a lot of times that they were open. He's just not getting the appropriate time. And I mean, you keep getting knocked around and keep getting hit when you're trying to make plays. Man, they would start a drive and then it would just be they hit a brick wall. He just couldn't get the ball out or he couldn't get it the way he wanted to. I mean, they contained Miami's offense pretty decent. Like, and I mean, me and you both said this. Like, if anybody's going to be able to contain that offense, it's going to be the Patriots. And
you. Yeah.
their defense didn't look that bad. Obviously, they're going to get worn down after a while having to play against that speed and that offense. But man, if they can just protect Mac and just give him a little more time, I'm not saying keep him in the pocket for 30 seconds and trying to find somebody, but he's got weapons. They have a run game and they have a defense. If you can pass protect him, that team's dangerous. They could have won that game even with the lackluster pass protection. So I think that's definitely something to look forward to for them.
Hmm.
But that's alarming for the Dolphins in a sense that, okay, just like how you said, they're going to figure it out and they're going to have other teams that are going to try to key in on that. And they're going to say, okay, they were able to kind of not fully contain, but they were able to kind of contain that offense and not let them explode. How can we take what they did and make it to how we work and be able to turn that into a winning product?
I told you, man. Like I told you, man. Belichick is a genius, man. Like I said, he's a genius, and he is the architect of a lot of defenses that have stopped number one offenses. And the NFL's a copycat league, so they obviously have you know, they can use the strategy that he used all season. And what I'm saying, obviously everybody will have their own spin on it, but the key to it is trying
Mm-hmm.
to stop one of their fast receivers. One. That's it. Pick which one you want to
Mm-hmm.
stop and hope the other one don't beat you. Because Tyreek Hill didn't do much. Got a touchdown, I think 40 yards or something like that, but nothing crazy like he usually can do. Like I don't know what Jalen Waddle did,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, obviously they probably let Jalen Waddle do him. But obviously, you're looking at the team. Like I said, it's gonna be a blueprint to stop them. You know what I'm saying? Because they can pass, but I don't know how their running game look, to be honest with you. So at some point, you know what I'm saying, somebody's
Mm-hmm.
gonna figure it out, like Belichick did, that we're gonna just put the umbrella on them. You know what I'm saying? Not give up no big plays and just let them nickel and dime us down the field. If they score, they score, but they're not gonna score real fast. And you know what I'm saying? That could allow other teams to um, put them in positions of being greedy. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about Tua, um, he's a greedy quarterback sometimes, and uh, that that hurt us, with him in college. Reason why, obviously we didn't have protection. That kind of helped. But a game against Clemson that kind of went off the rails, he was the quarterback for that team. You know what I'm saying? And instead of just kind of taking what the defense gave you, you wanted to, hit Judy for a 90-yard touchdown. Or, you wanted to hit Smitty or Ruggs for a 70-yard touchdown instead of just taking the check down. And I think that's a strategy for people moving forward to just kind of put the umbrella on them and make them impatient about how their offense can be. And when you're impatient,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get some turnovers. And
Mm-hmm.
Tua's on fire right now. I think he's probably the MVP front runner. He's had what, two 400-yard passing games or something like that, something crazy, right? So he's doing really good right now. He's looking really, really good. But like I said, he's gonna play better teams like that than that. So and people are gonna start putting the umbrella on him. And when you put the umbrella on him, you gotta hold that ball a little bit longer than you would. And he ain't been hit yet.
Mm-hmm.
So as you get later on in the season, those hits start to wear on you. And like I said, he
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been hit yet. And like I said, I hope he stays healthy. Nobody wants to see him get hurt. But the goal of a defense is to put the quarterback on his butt. Quarterback can't throw it if you're on his ass.
Mm-hmm.
So, so
Nope.
I
Not
think,
when you're starting left tackle who you paid all that money is freaking hurt like always. So I mean at some point he's gonna get knocked around.
yeah, so like I said, it just remains to be seen, man. But like I said, I like to see Belichick go against like offenses that are really prolific because his track record is really good at stopping them. So, like I said, I was glad to see Miami win. I think we both picked them to win. But I do think it was good to see him win. I want to see them because that's my Super Bowl pick out of AFC. So I kind of want to see him do it. I don't want to see anybody stop him. I definitely don't want to see Tua get hurt because that means they're not going anywhere. But I do like defense, man, and I like seeing good defense. So I saw a lot. But I think Mac Jones will be all right, man. But protection is an issue. I did see that. But it's an issue, but it's nothing that can't be resolved because Belichick
Mm-hmm.
ain't slow to cut nobody. He will cut you real quick if you're not doing your job. So that ain't nothing
Mm-hmm.
that ain't nothing that can be not fixed. You know what I'm saying? They can fix that. But sometimes it's just scheme, and sometimes you just play a defensive line that's really good. Like some people just can
Mm-hmm.
really get after the quarterback, man, and that's just kind of how it is. But like I said, I don't think they're gonna play many defensive lines like that. And it's definitely one of those things that they can be fixed. And if anybody can fix it, it's Belichick. He done seen everything, done everything. So I got faith in him doing anything. Like I don't doubt the big man. so
True.
so yeah, man. But yeah, so that was our college football and NFL recap, man. Like I said, we hope you enjoyed it, man. Like I said, expect our preview show sometime this week to both college and pro preview. We're gonna do some other stuff too. So just be looking out. Obviously, we're gonna keep the content rolling. We try to be consistent. But like I said, before we get up out of here, anything you gotta say, bro?
We just want to thank you guys for all the support. It really seems like you guys are enjoying the shorts, so we're gonna make sure we keep pumping that stuff out. And I mean that comes from all these quality, really good videos that you guys have tuned into as well. So, like you said, we're gonna have our preview. We just did the recap. We're gonna have a preview. And we're gonna kind of try to delve back into some of these other like different segments and series and stuff that we've opened up for you guys. So just stay tuned. And like I said before, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, never miss a beat, and just stay on for the ride. Because I think we got a lot of really cool stuff that y'all enjoy.
Hey, couldn't have said it better myself, man. So, like I said, man, I'm Cam. That's Brandon. This is a Football Frame of Mind podcast. Signing off.